I'm going to discuss how to recover from alcoholic and drug addiction. Some of you may know friends or family that suffers from alcohol and drug addiction. Many people will be told to simply go to an AA meeting or work the 12 steps of recovery and have no idea what that actually means. So today I'm going to discuss what the process is to actually start to get in the recovery process, and then how to actually work the 12 steps of recovery. The first step in getting sober would be to hit rock bottom. Many people will try to get sober with not much experience with doing drugs and alcohol, and their attempts will fail because they'll feel like they could have done a whole lot more, or their life wasn't quite bad enough in the first place. In order to properly recover from alcoholic and drug addiction, the person would need to really feel like they needed the help. The second step would be to ask for help. Many people may need the help, but they could be completely unwilling to ask for the help. This basically just takes the person being willing enough to say, my life is completely crazy and I need someone to help me because I'm going to die if I don't. Next, you'll actually, once you ask somebody for help, they should guide you to an AA meeting. Once you get to an AA meeting, you'll be asked to get a big book. A big book is the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and a sponsor. A sponsor is someone that is going to help you work through the steps and explain to you how to work through the steps, and also someone that you can call on a daily basis or even an hour-by-hour basis to talk about your problems and ask any questions if needed. Your sponsor will guide you into starting to work the 12 steps of recovery. On pages 59 and 60 of the Alcoholics Anonymous book, you will find the 12 steps listed, and I will start with talking about the first step. The first step is that we admitted that we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. The only requirement for this step is to admit that you have a problem. That's the only requirement. The second step is that you came to believe that a power greater than yourself can restore you to sanity. This does not require that you believe in Jesus Christ. This does not require that you be a certain religion. All this requires is that you believe that you are not the strongest power in the world, and that you believe that a power greater than you can help you to recover. The third step is we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. We're only making a decision in this step. We're not actually turning our will and our lives over to the care of God. We're only making a decision. And with this step comes the third step prayer, which states, God, I offer myself to Thee to build with me and to do with me as Thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do Thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those Thou would help of Thy power, Thy love, and Thy way of life. May I do Thy will always. Amen. That is from the Alcoholics Anonymous book, page 63. Next, we'll move on to the fourth step. We made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. In this step, we will write down all of our resentments, all of our fears, and our sexual inventory and harms to others. We will write this all down on paper from the beginning of our lives when we can remember. And it's basically just a huge inventory. And when we are done with that, we will move on to the next step, which is we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. In this step, we will go over what we wrote in the fourth step, and this will be with another person and with God, just like the step says. Next, we'll move to the sixth step, which says we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. The defects of character will be found when you take your fifth step with your sponsor. The sponsor should specify by the information that you included in your fourth step and pick up on things such as character defects such as jealousy, envy, dishonesty, that sort. And you'll ask God to remove, you'll be ready to ask God to remove those defects of character. And in step 7, you humbly ask him to remove your shortcomings. There also comes a prayer with that step, and it states, "My Creator, I am now willing that you shall have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Lord, grant me the strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen." Once you do that, you will move on to the 8th step, which is you made a list of all persons you had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. In this step, you will take the information that you have from your 4th step and make a list of the people that you harmed, whether it comes from your resentment, your sex inventory, or your harms to others. And that's all you do is make a list. Then you move on to your 9th step, which is make direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. So you take this list and you start to make the amends to the people. This does not mean a telephone call or anything like that. This means you make direct amends. And you don't want to go to an ex-drug dealer and make amends because that's dangerous. Step 10 is continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. This is part of the maintenance process of the 12 steps of recovery. You do this on a daily basis, and you say, if you had a resentment that day, you talk about it with someone at night or you write it down on paper. And this helps to keep yourself clean from resentments, fears, dishonesties, and things of that sort. In step 11, we stop through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him. Praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. In this step, we will continue with prayer and meditation. The purpose is to improve our relationship with God. And so, we want to use meditation. Next we go to step 11, which is stop through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him. Praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. During this step, we work on our prayer and meditation to get a closer relationship with God through meditation books and through quiet time. Step 12 is having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. This is the most important step because once having worked through 1 through 11, you are ready to share the message with other people. This concludes the process of working the 12 steps of recovery. I hope after having everyone listen, they would have a better understanding if a friend or a family member ever needed help